In this video, we'll look at pivot tables. If you're a main contractor quantity surveyor, you'll find this tool very useful. If you've never come across a pivot table before, a pivot table is an interactive way to quickly summarize data. To explain pivot tables, I produced an Excel sheet with information regarding a variation related to contract instruction 35. So imagine a consultant has issued a contract instruction and we, as the main contractor quantity surveyor, have produced a variation. From the variation, we then have to allocate categories and cost codes against the relevant amount. So for example, the categories, we can see numbers 1, 3 and 4. And these relate to whether they're a subcontractor, whether it's labour, whether it's material, and whether it's plant. Now when we come to cost code, which are unique numbers that allow quantity surveyors to track costs within each trade of a construction project, you will have to find the correct cost code for which your company uses to be allocated against a relevant subby or supplier. Let's begin using a pivot table. So go to the Insert tab, move to the left, click on Pivot Table, a dialog box comes up, select a table or range. So the table or range will be this information here. Choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. We can click on New Worksheet or Existing Worksheet, which is the worksheet that we're on at the moment. A location, I can pick the location. So I'll click here and then OK. Once you click OK, you'll see two boxes appear. The first here, and it states, to build a report, choose fields from the pivot table field list. If you look to our right hand side, we can see the pivot table field list. And the list here, all these titles, come from the column headers. So be supplier, trade, category, cost code, and amount. From here, we can then tick the boxes for which we want information returned. For example, trade, we want the category, we want the cost code, and we want the amount. At the moment, the way the information looks is not very useful to us. So what we can do, we can manipulate how it looks by changing the positions of this information. So if we move cost code across to rows, we then move category across to the rows, we can now see that the information looks a lot better. So a quick example of how a QS uses this information, looking at the box, you can quickly see that the cost code 4000 with a category 3, which is material, there's a total amount of 6000. But let's say a QS missed some information, they missed a cost out. How do we update the pivot table? What we can do in the table here is insert a line. Let's call the supplier Construction King, and the trade is carpentry, and it's going to be a material, so that's going to be category 3, and it's going to be a cost code of 4000. We'll give it a cost of 4000. If we look at the box down here, we can still see the amount is at 6000. So what can we do to update it? Well, we can go to this tab called the Pivot Table Analyze tab. And what you'll see here is a refresh. If you press this button, you'll see now the information is updated to the total costs for the cost code 4000 with a category 3. As you can see from a QS perspective, pivot tables are really beneficial. For example, you've got a large variation that is ongoing, and you keep updating your financial system every few weeks, every couple of months until that variation's finished. It's a great way to keep updating the total amounts. I hope you've found this video very useful. Thanks for watching.